What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. And before you watch this video, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button down below. I'd really appreciate it. So the subject of today's video I actually tweeted out a couple weeks ago. I didn't know when I was going to get around to it, but it had a lot of attention and really got a lot of good responses from all of you guys, so I knew I had to get to it at some point. So the Memphis Grizzlies have a really good young core and a fun team to watch, and this year they were surprisingly the 8th seed before the season canceled on us, but they were in the playoffs if we were going to start today, and they have a ton of fun pieces on their team. They have Brandon Clark, Valanciunas, Dillon Brooks, but this team is clearly led by their two best players, Ja Morant and Darren Jackson Jr. Now, both of these guys are really good players, and players I'd love to have on the Pistons, obviously. And this is all just fun debate. This isn't meant to tear one of them down or try to dismiss one of them as not as good. Well, I guess it's kind of saying one of them isn't as good as the other, but all in good fun or whatever. But we're going to have a friendly debate here. Which of these players is the Memphis Grizzlies' best player? Ja Morant or Jaren Jackson Jr.? Let's find out, shall we? First, let's talk about Jaren Jackson Jr. a little bit. This season, he averaged 16.9 points a game, 4.7 rebounds, 1.4 assists to 1.7 turnovers, 46.8% from the field, 39.7% from beyond the arc on 6.3 attempts. Wow, that's pretty good. And 59.0 true shooting percentage. So the great things about Jaren Jackson Jr. One of them, he's a 7-footer with a 7'4" wingspan who can shoot over 40% from deep on good volume. Or high volume, excuse me. Having someone at that size who's capable of shooting that well from beyond the arc, while also being able to put it on the floor and get to the rim, shooting around 70% at the rim, that's just an uber efficient player. And he's a decent rim protector, averaging around 1.6 blocks per game. Now we gotta talk about some of his negatives. Right off the bat, like I said earlier, he's a 7-footer with a 7'4" wingspan. There is no reason why he should average 4.7 rebounds a game at his position. His defensive rebound percentage is 13.7%. Players like Kobe White, Buddy Hield, and Bruce Brown all have a higher defensive rebound percentage. While this is 100% something he has to improve, somehow the Grizzlies still were the 6th best rebounding team in the league and still averaged 36.3 defensive rebounds a game. So the team did a good job at covering that weakness of his. Another weakness of Jaren's is the fact that he's not a very good playmaker at all. Like I mentioned earlier, he averages more turnovers than assists. That's something you do not want to see from any of your players. Now, obviously, no one's asking him to be Magic Johnson out there, but like I said, averaging more turnovers than assists is just not acceptable. And when you attract the kind of attention he does scoring-wise, you really would like the fact for him to be able to play make a little bit when the defense focuses on him. It could really make the team's offense a lot better. And there is one more thing I want to point out about Jaren Jackson Jr. that he must improve on, but I'm going to get to that later on in the video when I compare him and Ja directly to each other. Now let's get into his partner, Ja Morant. The Grizzlies rookie point guard averaged 17.6 points per game, 6.9 assists to 3.2 turnovers, 3.5 rebounds, shooting 49.1% from the field, 36.7% from deep, with a true shooting percentage of 56.8%. So Ja was scoring pretty well on pretty good efficiency for the Memphis Grizzlies this year, and once again, he 100% is going to win Rookie of the Year whenever the season officially ends. Now, to truly show you how much he impacted the Grizzlies this year, this is where I'm going to bring up what I said earlier about how there was something I wanted to talk about with Jaren Jackson Jr. that I would bring up later on when I was discussing Ja Morant. And before getting into this, I just want to say, before getting into this video, I had my own preconceived answer about who was the better player. But after doing all the research that I'm about to show you guys right here, my answer completely flipped. So obviously, so far we can see they're both really good offensive players, both pretty efficient from the floor. Jaren Jackson right now seems to be the better shooter from beyond the arc, and obviously Ja Morant's the better playmaker because he's a point guard. He actually was a better playmaker than I thought he was going to be heading into the NBA season this year, but pretty understandable things. So the first thing I want to talk about is the defense. Now, I feel like among a lot of casuals and among myself before I got into this video, think that Jaren Jackson is a really good two-way player. Now, my friend Robel, who's also a YouTuber, go ahead and check out his channel. I'll put it in the description down below. He tweeted this out the other day that Jaren Jackson, the good defender, is more of a thought than reality. And let me show you why that is precisely the truth. Now, the red line is Jaren Jackson's defensive rating on-off, and the black line is Ja Morant's defensive rating on-off. Of anybody who played at least 1,000 minutes on the Grizzlies, Jaren Jackson Jr. had the second worst defensive rating at 111.5, and the defense was actually 5.6 points better with him off the floor. Not only was the team's defense 3.2 points better with Ja on the floor versus Jaren Jackson Jr., the overall team defense was 1 point better with Ja Morant on the floor. The point in showing this is to show that Jaren Jackson Jr.'s two-way thought that everybody, all these casuals think he is just a thought right now. He shows flashes of being that player one day, but he is not that player right now, and he actually negatively impacts the Memphis Grizzlies defense. Ja Morant has to get better on defense too, but it's quite obvious that he's not hurting their defense to the point that Jaren Jackson Jr. is. Actually, the defense is better with Ja on the floor. Again, in this picture, Ja Morant is the black arrow, Jaren Jackson Jr. is the red arrow. And on here, we're looking at the on-off net rating and their on-court net rating. Ja Morant has an on-court net rating of -0.4, which isn't bad when you consider the fact that the Grizzlies are pretty much that exact net rating. They're right below a 500 team at 32 and 33. So Ja is basically a reflection of what the Grizzlies are as a team record-wise. And what really matters in your on-off rating. Is the team better with you on the floor or off the floor? And the Memphis Grizzlies are better with Ja Morant on the floor. They're 1.8 points better with Ja Morant on the floor. However, not only does Jaren Jackson Jr. have a -3.1 on-court net rating, the Memphis Grizzlies are 4.9 points worse with him on the floor. Now look, obviously these stats are not saying that if you just wipe Jaren Jackson off the Grizzlies, all of a sudden they're better. That's not what it means. But it does mean that right now, Ja Morant is 100% impacting the Grizzlies more than Jaren Jackson is, in my opinion. And just to show this even more, of all three-man lineups that played at least 500 minutes for the Grizzlies, Ja Morant is in 4 of the top 5 net-rated lineups, while Jaren Jackson Jr. is only in 1. And when looking at two-man lineups with the same minutes filter, not a single duo with Jaren Jackson Jr. has a positive net rating. And while they both have only played a combined 3 seasons, Jaren Jackson Jr. obviously 2 seasons, Ja Morant being a rookie, so we don't have a lot of sample size to work with here. But Jaren Jackson Jr. did miss 24 games his first year and then missed a couple weeks this year with a knee injury, while Ja Morant has been relatively healthy. Once again, small sample size, extremely small sample size, but early on it looks like Jaren Jackson Jr. might have some injury-prone issues moving forward. And by now, you guys probably know who I'm going with as the best player on the Memphis Grizzlies. And like I said, before this video, I thought it was going to be Jaren Jackson Jr. I was in the belief that Jaren Jackson Jr. was the best player on the Grizzlies. He was a two-way player, all that stuff. But after doing this research, I have flipped immediately, and I believe that Jaren Jackson Jr. is not the best player on the Grizzlies, and it is, in fact, their rookie, Ja Morant. I just believe it's quite obvious that Ja Morant impacts the Grizzlies in a positive way much more than Jaren Jackson does. And like I said, they're both really good players. Not trying to take anything away from this is supposed to be a fun little debate thing. They're both really good players. And once again, those stats are not saying if you just wipe Jaren Jackson off the Grizzlies, they're a better team. That's not what they're saying. But I believe after doing this research and after watching this video, I think it's pretty clear that Ja Morant impacts the Grizzlies far more than Jaren Jackson does. And that's all I've got for you guys today. Let me know in the comment section down below if you guys agree with me or if you think Jaren Jackson Jr. is the better player on the Grizzlies. Once again, let me know in the comment section down below. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button down below as well. Like I said in my last video, 88% of you guys that watch my videos are not subscribed, and it would really help me out if you guys hit that subscribe button and the bell button. It would really put my videos up on more recommendations. It would help more people see my channel and then bring in new people to my channel. So I'd really appreciate it if you guys did that. Also, check out my channel if you want to see more videos like this, talking about some younger players. And also comment down below what you guys would like to see next. And until next time, I'm out of here. Peace out, guys.